Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to Good Journeys Tarot. I see Ange is already here. So glad to have you. How did you like the new countdown? It took me a frustrating Sunday afternoon to create, but I'm actually kind of happy with it and the way it turned out. Hopefully, you enjoyed it as well. Um, just felt wrong that my countdown was the same as everybody else's on StreamYard. It is snowing here today, which is unusual for Georgia. So my cat can't go outside and lounge in the sun. So she is driving me nuts. So I will probably be yelling at her again in a minute. Um, because she just will not stop getting into everything that she never gets into. It's so crazy that on a snow day she would do that. The other thing that's really upsetting about the snow is that the car cover on my car blew off last night because the wind was like so strong. And I had started putting a cover on it because I don't have a garage and the sunroof, I guess the line that takes the water away from the car is clogged or something. And so it leaked into my floorboard. And so that has helped prevent that since I can't really afford to get it fixed. But today it was laying in the ground with snow all over it. So, yay, that's fun stuff. So, that's the crazy kind of things that are going on around here. I'm also packing for StarCon, which is going to be in Florida this week, starting on Thursday. And a little bit of trepidation about flying out there, but definitely looking forward to it. Welcome, Gerald. Nice to see you here. Um, and so, lots going on around here. In fact, I'm having to write a meditation for a class on Tuesday, and hopefully, I'm making some headway on that. So, I did receive one little tarot goodie this week that I thought I'd share with you. And some of you may be aware that this happened because I did share it a couple of places, but I don't remember where. I finally was able to find a copy and obtain the Tarot of the Holy Light. This is an esoteric deck, which is not the Golden Dawn. And so it is quite different. Some of the cards in it you would recognize because they are based on much older esoteric decks. So, for example, let's just look at the Page of Disc. The Page of Disc, I like this so much better than the Thoth because it's more field of color, like lines and stuff. So I can like make out the images. Um, it's definitely a very different feel than the RWS or the Thoth as far as the page would go. So it's going to be a lot of studying. Not one, but two books. Okay. Not something I'm going to be delving into this year, probably next year. But some of the cards are just beautiful. This one you'll recognize. It's the Empress from many older. I'm throwing cards at you. Oh my goodness. Whoa. Yeah, so you might recognize her from some older decks. Um, and there's some imagery that's kind of familiar, but there's also some really striking and beautiful imagery that's totally different in it. And I'm going to refrain from showing the whole deck. I love this death card. Um, there's some cards that look almost identical to every other deck you look at, but then there are others that are so far different. Like take the sun, where the sun is personified with the lovers in the background. And so I really am excited about this deck. Maybe I'll do a little bit of a walkthrough of first impressions of it, even though it's an older deck. Because it's an older deck and it was used or at least stored for a long time, it has like dusty discoloration on the edges. So I'm thinking that I will probably edge it in silver or something so that it doesn't look dirty to me. It looks like it was intentionally colored. But yeah, so a lot to do with that deck. I love the backs. It's the sun and the moon, which you'll see in this deck. Almost every card has the sun and moon in it. Very much connected with those. This is one of 3 out of print decks on my wish list. And I'm fingers crossed someone is going to be selling me a copy of one of those decks on at StarCon. And that third one, well, it'll just remain a issue to be resolved later. So today we are going to be talking about this person, the Page of Pentacles. The Page of Pentacles is, of course, that youthful energy of, learning about the earth, basically. So, in learning about things like finances, this could be a message about your health. This could be a message about finances. Pages were messengers. And so sometimes people will associate messages with the knights, and that always disturbs me because knights were not messengers, really. They were action people, right? At least in my brain. I can't like have both of them do the same work. It would just not work. So in older decks, it was just that. It was a young person holding a coin. And we even get that in modern decks. Like this is the Uncommon Tarot. That's a collage. This is a modern Marseille. Very cute depiction of the Valet de Deniers. This is from the Rider Waite, which is a deck I love. It's a fun, simple deck that just kind of pops. One of the things that going into studying this card that I had never really copy on artwork. So, Angela, which deck are you talking about? So this one it brings in that idea of students, of mastering your or working on your craft, learning your craft. This is the Green Witch, and so oh yeah, so there is the book on Amazon for Tarot of the Holy Light, but the deck itself has been out of print for 6 years, maybe, I think. And then she also had a subsequent book that she wrote on the esoteric tradition about which this is based. And a lot of people have said you really can't comprehend it until you've read this one. So I went ahead and grabbed the second one. The first one actually came with the book, with the deck from the person that I got it from. And so that was really a new idea for me. Everybody was like, this is a student, this is a student, this is a student. Even in the good karma, you've got this is a student. For me, all 4 of these would be students, like the pentacles, the wands, the swords, but they would be students of a different nature. Like they would be learning about something different. So like in this case, I feel like they're learning about finances, about possessions, about growing things, those types of things that we would associate with earth. Whereas with the swords, it would be more intellectual learning to think logically, to make decisions and that type of thing. And then for the wands, learning their creative skills, right? So that's kind of where I've been going. You do get a lot of connection with the earth. This is the Prism of Visions. This is a deck that bugs my eyes, even though I think it was a beautiful concept. I can't work with it, but it's a gorgeous card. This is from the Mystic Garbage. The pages in this are simply lovely. They're childlike forms interacting with various animals. In this case, a orangutan or gorilla. I think it might be a baby gorilla. Some more connection to the earth here in the lily white. And sometimes they'll change the names, like I've been talking about calling mine students. Some people will call them children or child. This is the Spacious Tarot. And then I love this type of depiction of them actually doing something versus just the page standing there with the element. It kind of gives you something contextually to know about the page. This is the Modern Love Tarot. This is a gorgeous deck. I love this deck. I'd work with it a lot if the cards were tarot size. Why do people do this? Don't make big cards. Okay. And don't make tiny cards. No, not me. Not me. Okay. I do like the image of the page as a child, but and at first I was like, maybe some of these are a little old for me, like the Fyodor Pavlov or the yummy Bone-Stone and Earth Flesh. But I think that really it could be any student. So it could be anyone working on maturing themselves intellectually or skill wise at any point. And so I guess it's okay that they're a little older, and I'm perfectly okay with this one being a little older, right? Here's one that brought in the idea of finances. And also you'll see her looking through the lemon there, looking at that lemon, kind of like examining it. That's kind of a theme of even like the Marseille, when they're holding it up, they're actually looking at it, examining it. It's something they're fascinated with, which is a great thing to see in the card. With the Thoth decks, there's a different energy, and I want to look at a little bit of why that is. When the Thoth deck, and I'm going to add this to our stream here, and hopefully, I'm going to switch over. Hopefully, you'll be able to see my pointer to see what I'm talking about. But in the Thoth deck, so the pages are associated with Malkut, which is at the bottom of the Tree of Life. And in the Thoth, they consider this card the last card in the tarot deck. So this is like the person who is now like completely connected with the earth. And I've never resonated with that, like the page as the last one. Like in the RWS, it's the king, and I'm much more comfortable with that. And here is why. For me, the major arcana and the first 10 cards of the pips all flow down the tree. So someone learning and growing and maturing in their understanding of the world, of themselves, of the divine, etc. And then you get to Malkut, where the tens are, and now there are the pages. So for me, the pages are that initiation of trying to understand things from a higher perspective. And so now we're going back up the tree with our knights at sixes, where we're somewhat enlightened, going up to our queens, and then our kings at the very top of the tree of life. And so that's for me why it doesn't really resonate with me that the page or the princess should be the last card, because I don't think she is that ultimate understanding or connection with the element. It's actually the king, or the authority on that suit, right? Whatever you want to call it. So you do get in Thoth some different ideas, like the princesses would be the pages, and so like this one's a kindergarten teacher, and this one's a princess of Pentacles from the Heart and Hands. She's lovely. She's connected with the earth. Beautiful. I could read this either way. But when you see the Thoth versions of these cards, it's a very different concept and understanding, I think, of the Tree of Life. But But I think this is probably my favorite depiction, just because I love this artwork. I love this particular page. She's there staring at her little pentacle, and you can see how she's connected to the earth there. And so it doesn't quite have the action of some of the other cards that I've shown, but something about this, it just screams at me beauty. And so I really like this one. And that is from the Curious Travels. So our Page of Pentacles is our card of Earth. So you got double Earth going on. And so it's should be very earthy. It should be very connected to all things related to Earth. But at the same time, I think that that idea of this person still being in the early stages of learning and growing needs to be an element of that card as well. And I think we get that with a lot of decks through their age or them being a student in many of the ones that we've looked at. And so before I show you what I ended up coming up with, which I think Gerald has already seen for sure, because he is part of my group on Facebook, Good Journeys into Tarot. And I post the cards there just like I do on Instagram and invite people to give me feedback on them and their thoughts. Sometimes, like yesterday, I posted 2. And you get to see those. So again, this could be a messenger. Pages were messengers about money or your health, good fortune, any of that. It could be a person, a young person, did the study of anything related to Earth, at least in my mind. For some people, it's studying anything really, but not so me. Hi, Tanji. Welcome. So glad you're here. And so it can be practicing your skills. It can be about fascination. You know, this page really stares at that pentacle. Like it's fascinated with it, learning about it, understanding it. Whereas when you get to the knight, then the knight is just kind of holding it, right? The knight's kind of over the fascination with it a little bit. And so, yeah, so it could be about scholarly pursuits, about resourcefulness, diligence, or planting seeds. And we actually see that in some of the cards that we saw earlier, where they are actually looking at crops. And on the shadow side, of course, this card could mean bad news about those very same things, about your health, about your wealth. About your studies. It could be about confusion or setting unrealistic goals or material excess, even going overboard, right? It can be about a job offer, promotion, or raise. It's a message, right? Because it's a pentacle, and the Page of Pentacles is messenger about things related to your health and wealth. So when I was creating mine, the image that came to my mind after I studied a little bit was when I was in grad school, we had pecan trees lining the quad. And so every night when I would go walking for my walks, when I was trying to lose weight, I would pick up pecans, and I would just pick up a bunch of them, and I would ship them back to my dad, because my dad likes to like just sit there shelling pecans after work, or now that he's retired, when he's not working in the yard. And then my mom bakes with them. So and so I didn't really have pecan trees to work with, but I thought apples will work. Everybody recognizes an apple, right? And so I ended up with, come on, this. And I did 2 versions. And the reason that I ended up with 2 versions is Usually the first draft, I make a mistake. So like yesterday, I realized that the symbol for Earth was upside down. So then I redid it. And when I was redoing it, I briefly thought, well, shouldn't the one that the page is picking be the ripe apple? But like Gerald said, and was my initial thought, the greens kind of blend in with that sky because they're the same tones and everything. And I thought, well, that artistically, this one is more appealing. But then I thought, if this is someone who is still learning, that they will make mistakes along the way, right? And they will learn from those mistakes. And so perhaps they should be picking the green apple. And of course, I wanted that student vibe. If you've been watching very long, or if you've gone back and and oh, you're so funny, tarot bag. Um, yeah, so if you've been watching for very long and you saw my Six of Wands, you'll actually recognize some of this artwork. Because the Six of Wands is actually also a scene from when I was in grad school. And so it has the same lawn and the same trees in the background. And I'm hoping that this will help connect the deck and make it cohesive if I reuse some elements in various cards and that type of thing. So that is the page. Where is, oh, here it is. Sorry. Bag of our RWS that we have been using to draw our card of the week. Now, next Sunday, there probably won't be a 78 cards in 78 weeks live because I will be at StarCon. But there may be a live of some kind or a video because I know I will have some downtime on Sunday afternoon before I fly out Monday. So I may just come on and chat about some of the things that happened there or something of that nature. So the card that we pulled today, I'll actually be slowly working through this week and next week since I have that gap in there where I'll be traveling. So let's see what our next card will be. Oh, wow. Okay. This actually isn't a card I've been dreading, but it's kind of a significant card, I think, in the tarot. And it's kind of important that I pull it off correctly. I have already told Benabel when I will probably copy her first edition world card when I'm creating mine. And she was like, oh, go for it. And so definitely a different art style, but it is the world. And so definitely an important card in the deck. And one that I actually really resonate with this imagery, having studied the symbols and everything in it repeatedly. I feel like some modern readers, when they do this card, miss some of the esoteric meaning behind it, related specifically to the idea of the duality, or as we talked about in our Gender and Esoteric Tarot broadcast, the triplicity present in the tarot. And so, yeah, so it'll be interesting working on this card, the world, over the next couple of weeks. And perhaps I do really need 2 weeks with this card since it is quite a significant one. And I'll be looking for just the right imagery for it. It will be very similar to this, most likely, because like I said, I've studied these symbols previously, and this card kind of resonates with me pretty well. And so, yeah, I'll probably stick with it, maybe add some things from the Spirit Keepers Tarot first edition. But yeah, so looking forward to working with that card. I want to thank all of you who showed up today to do this live with me. I hope that you've gotten something out of it. You will look at the group Good Journeys into Tarot, and give me feedback as I'm working on the cards. I usually post them on Fridays, and see if I get any feedback and that type of thing. And then on Saturday, I'll finalize it and I'll post it on TikTok and Instagram as a reel, and then Sunday we'll chat through what I decided and how I decided it. So until next time, everyone, good journeys.